The Lunaverse. Special episode of Tales of the Lunaverse, Episode 2, In the Heat of the Moment by RainbowDoubleDash. Chapter 3, Little Box of Horrors. The night court was all gathered within the great throne room of Canterlot Castle. Scores of ponies dressed in all their finest had gathered together before Her Majesty, Luna Equestrius, Shepherd of the Moon, Caretaker of the Sun, Ruler of the Three Tribes, Princess of Equestria. Her own gown outdid them all, possibly costing the guards national product of Equestria for a year. Then there was Trixie. She was naked, and while anywhere else this wouldn't have been worth commenting on, here in this palace of opulence she stood out like a chipped hoof. She was currently discussing the fact by hiding behind a night guard. "My night court!" Luna bellowed, raising a hoof for silence. "My noble and eternally loyal as long as somebody is watching, ladies and gentlecoats!" Everyone quieted their conversations about how they were planning on backstabbing someone else in the room in order to turn to Luna. A leer broke Luna's features as the doors to the night court were closed and locked. "I declare this lock-in to officially begun," she drawled. The change was instant. For one thing, the lights in the room began pulsating, rapidly shifting in colors, as bright balls made of hundreds of tiny mirrors began to descend from the ceiling. Light dancing off of them and causing them to glitter and sparkle. Music started up, and some pony was playing a saxophone, backed up by some kind of synthetic piano, and the music was cheesy. Very swiftly, Trixie was not the only naked pony in the room anymore. She tried to close her eyes, but couldn't, as the assembled night court began to gyrate and move against one another, kissing, licking, biting. There were groans and moans and cries of ecstasy, and Lyra and Bonbon kept trying to find a third pony to join them. A pair of great midnight blue wings wrapped around Trixie. As she cried out, she was pulled in close to Luna. "You're disgusted by your own body!" Luna exclaimed. "But I don't see why. You're quite beautiful, Trixie." Yeah," Twilight Sparkle added, sliding up behind Trixie, laying her head on Trixie's neck, kissing her cheek as one of her four hosts started a journey down her bell and towards her nethers. Trixie awoke, screaming! The terror quickly passed, allowing Trixie to remember she wasn't in Canterlot. She was in her home, far away from any kind of night court locked-in orgy, which she knew for a fact never happened, since no member of the nobility would leave themselves so open to attack or humiliation. She was in her own bed, albeit a bed which, for the smell and feel of things, she was going to need to change the sheets on. Trixie groaned, climbing out of the bed and telekinetically stripping it of its sheets. This was the worst part of heat, the dreams. Dreams which were so much more vivid, detailed, and featured Luna disturbingly often. The dreams which had their wake-up having sweated a shade into her sheets, and often having further released herself, which granted did allow for a slight reprieve from her heat. But once it was done, that was always wasted, as she needed to change her sheets, made her feel like she just wet her bed. Trixie dumped her sheets in her pile of laundry, then trotted downstairs, resolving to grab a drink of water. She stopped on the way to glance into her bathroom, making sure that her makeshift fix of pipes had held. Fix, here being defined as using her hose, telekinesis, and some substantial amount of swearing to compress the pipes closed. She was not going to try and call the plumber, especially with her not being paid for the month. Trixie made it downtown and drowned several glasses of water from her kitchen sink, glancing outside as she did. The sun was beginning to peek over the horizon. Her second day had begun. Her higher reasoning had ultimately triumphed the first day of this chemical war. But now her bath was out of commission, as she hardly wanted to climb in a tub of used bath water, and so had drained it yesterday after spending an hour in it. Her hindquarters, meanwhile, had conducted a successful night raid. They had recouped from the shock of freezing water yesterday, and were preparing a new offensive. "War is Tartarus," Trixie declared. Hours later, after going back to sleep and having a far more comfortable and normal dream without being chased by a monster she couldn't see or hear, but she knew for a fact was always right behind her, Trixie found herself in her office. Being locked in her house for a week was going to leave her with an awful lot of free time after all. I suppose there was still a backlog of night court paperwork that she could do to pass the time, and, just maybe, convince Luna to not only pay her for the week rather than the whole month. She continued to pointedly ignore her hat in the drawer as her pen danced across the faces. Nothing killed the mood like filing information on farm outputs, water usage, and so on. Yes, staying in one place was both making her antsy, and her free, unoccupied front host kept trying to abandon her brain and join her nethers, both in metaphorical and literal sense. But that wasn't anything she couldn't deal with yet. The front door opened. This was surprising, because she had a distinct memory of locking it. It closed as quickly as a magenta pony trotted in, carrying a large cardboard box on her back. Charlie, school teacher, element of laughter, and apparently magician. My front door was locked, Trixie pointed out. Charlie glanced behind her friend, offering a helpless shrug. That's not necessarily an impediment, she said. Trixie raised one eyebrow. Charlie shrugged again. I had an interesting fallhood. Learned a lot of useful life skills, like lockpicking. Charlie nodded, and embroidery. Trixie ran the trumbull in front of her front hose, keeping a firm eye on her other one to make sure he didn't try to wander anywhere. Now's not a good time, she said. Charlie's scent was beginning to reach her. Granted, Charlie was a mare, and so not precisely what her hormones were shaking out, but at that moment, Trixie's rebellious hindquarters, still in firm control of her sense of smell, despite her brain's best efforts, were willing to take any kind of help in the face of the brain trying to starve them out. Why didn't you just, knock? Charlie fixed Trixie with a stare. Would you have answered? Probably not. Then that's why I picked the lock. I'm not going to stand outside with these, she rattled her box, any more than I have to. Trixie stood up and walked over to the box, opening it with her front hose. Why? What's in... Trixie stared. Slowly but surely her coat began changing color, from cerulean to a very bright shade of pink. Charlie smiled sheepishly. I heard you were in heat, she said, and I know how you feel about sex. But that doesn't mean I can't help out. Charlie walked over to the other side of the box, which Trixie was still staring dumbfounded into. He reached in, rummaging around for a few moments before pulling out a cover with a suggestive title and even more suggestive cover image of an earth pony stallion in the desert, wearing a hat, a grin, and not in any way, shape, or form hiding how excited he was to be on the cover of the book. It titled, Riding Western Wind. Okay, these, she said. These will help. I wasn't sure how you liked, so I grabbed a few westerns. A nice historical piece set in Anacordia, and, this. She had set aside each book she had already produced on Trixie's desk, and held up the latest one for Trixie to see. It had Princess Miyamori Cadenza on the front cover, lying on her side, surrounded by opulence. Though the picture itself was not risque, probably just the main portrait of her done at some point in the past 1,000 years. Trixie blinked a few times in surprise, opening her mouth to suspect. No intelligible sound came out, however. Charlie turned it back around. It's not licensed at all, of course, she said, setting the book aside. Apparently, there's this whole underground market of dirty books featuring Princess Cadenza, or, she pulled out another book. This one had no picture on it, but its title was Two for the Moon. Trixie could put two and two together. Yeah, Charlie said, tossing the book onto the pile she made. Never really got into it myself, but hey, I'll try anything once. Moving along. Charlie rummaged in the box some more, pulling out a device of impressive proportions. Now, for the record, I never use these, she assured Trixie. I just used to, collect them. Hey, a bear needs a hobby, right? Trixie stared. Kinda was getting difficult to hide them all, though, so that's why I stopped collecting them and started collecting fish instead. More expensive in the long run, but at least I don't have to worry about my little sister seeing anything she shouldn't, right? At this point, Trixie felt nothing but sympathy for poor Pina Colada. Anyway, Charlie said, setting aside a weapon of individual destruction, and pulling out what, for a moment, Trixie thought was a corkscrew. A second glance made it abundantly it was not a corkscrew, but the sight of it nevertheless made Trixie yearn for alcohol. This one's probably not for you, she set it aside, and pulled out something ribbed and spiked, studying it. No, probably not. She put that one aside and began to produce one more torture implement, to Trixie's eyes anyway, after another. No, this one might not even be legal. No. Think I'll have to hold on to this one. Aha! Here we go. But that's the drippy dragon. I'm out. Compared to the previous implements, what Trixie held in her hub right now was positively minuscule, barely 4 inches of light. Small, so you don't have to worry about losing your virginity, Charlie said,
But if you just channel some of your magic into it, it vibrates. Here, I think it actually has some residual magic stored up in it. The pony in the store I bought it and demonstrated it. The vibrating, that is. He didn't use it. Anyway,
Cheerily rubbed the base slightly. Indeed, it began to vibrate with an audible hum, not only for a few moments, as whatever magic remained in it just gave out. Cheerily smiled, putting it back into the pile.
Just trying to help,
Cheerily said, patting Trixie on the head with one hoof.
Being by yourself can be hard on a mare in heat. Sometimes this old Dr. Hose doesn't cut it.
She waved her two front hooves to emphasize the euphemism. Trixie stared. After several moments, Cheerily realized her smile was not as contagious as she hoped it would be. She stared back.
I'm just trying to help.
Trixie breathed in deeply, and then let out slow, uneven breaths as she focused very hard on the floor beneath her. She did not focus on the implements to her left. She did not look at the books to her right. Her brain most certainly did not have to deal with an insurgency inside of it that was imagining her on her back, helpless before Princess Luna and Cadenza as they made use of those implements on her. All of them vibrating, gliding around her hips and her croup and duck, vibrating inwards, accompanied by her own heavy breathings in their tongues, as the Stetson-wearing cowpony, unsheathed in all his glories, approached Trixie from the front, offering himself. Trixie's tongue stretching out and... Ugh! Trixie gasped as her hindquarters tried to press their advance, hormones rushing through her body. The dull heat that had been building up all morning suddenly became a raging inferno at the sight of such easy relief. Relief that wouldn't require anything but a weapon of choice and her own treacherous imagination.
Cheerily, if you want to help,
yes,
get those things out of here!
Trixie exclaimed, scooting backwards from the box of horror.
Please, before I do something I'll regret!
Cheerily paused only for a moment. Before hurriedly beginning to do so, Trixie asked. She knocked over both of the pile of books and the pile of dildos in her haste, but quickly managed to scoop them up and get them out of sight. It only took a few seconds, but Trixie was already swaying profusely. And note that she tore off her cape, though she held it close to her, held it to her eyes, and desperately focused on her breathing. In and out, in and out, in and out, and in and out, in and out, in and out, and out. Okay, that was the worst line of thought! Cheerily stared at Trixie.
You, she said, don't clap?
Trixie shook her head violently.
It's gross! Gross! Gross!
Cheerily sputtered, holding up a hoof.
Well, but every pony claps, Trixie. Every mare. During their heat. How many heats have you had? 5, 6? And you never clapped?
Trixie simmered.
Not intentionally. A few times. Without thinking about it. I mean, and it didn't help.
Trixie glared at Cheerily.
It's gross!
Cheerily blinked. You're going to explode.
My choice, not yours.
Cheerily shook her head.
Alright, fine. But it's a bad choice. I just want you to know that. You're making this much harder than it has to be. Oh, wait a second. All this picking on Trixie, all this messing with her, this is because we enjoyed a whole entire few months of messing with Twilight a few months back, isn't it?
Why, no, Trixie, no! Trixie laughed tiredly, even as he tugged her closer to her. The extreme heat was beginning to pass, her brain having successfully held off her hormonal barbarians.
You're the second pony to tell me I should go and buck myself, but me in a good way.
Cheerily sighed, grabbing the box and putting it on her back.
Okay, she said softly. I'll just bring these back to my place then.
She spared Trixie one more glance before sighing again and heading outside. Trixie remained still for several long moments, before stumbling from her office towards her kitchen sink. With her bathroom out commission, her only option for cleaning herself off now was fill a bowl of warm water and do it in her backyard, then destroy the bowl. She was really late to have her heavy heat pass. So anxious was she to try to wash out the sink her own sweat and pheromones, she didn't notice that, in her haste to pack everything up, Cheerily had accidentally left behind, writing Western Wind. Chapter 4, Contrivance. An hour later, Trixie found herself staring at the bomb in the floor. Book, whatever. Landed on its back, meaning she couldn't see the stallion that it was on the front cover. Its back cover, however, had its title displayed, as well as a description. Against their bare judgment, not that her brain was being fully consulted on all of her body's axes anymore, she lifted a book, making it a point not to turn it around and read its back. Newly widowed after a shockingly brief marriage to an elder Night Court lord, Honey Darling still aches with pain of unexplored desire. Now her restless heart is leading her far from the protective bosom of polite Canterlot society. Clearly the officer had never been to Canterlot. To the perilous beauty of the mild west, into Western Wind. Breathlessly exciting, but dangerously unpredictable, Western Wind is a loner whose blood burns hotter than the blistering hot sun. That must have hurt. Hey, Trixie! I'm the one who's doing the riffs here. Honey Darling's wealth and title meant nothing to the stranger whose passions ruled his actions and his heart. But neither the wild desert stallion nor the untouched Canterlot rose could deny their irresistible attraction. Trixie stared at him a moment, then let out a light laugh, smiling a little. That was the sorry excuse for a plot. Didn't even mention what title Honey Darling managed to inherit. That seemed like the kind of thing that would warrant description. An elderly court lord was practically the same thing as saying some random pony to anybody who knew how the night court operated. Besides which, why would a pony with the night court connections want to leave Equestria entirely? The mile west was on the other side of Calavera. Clearly this author had no idea what she was writing about. The book was harmless. Trixie opened the book. Trixie closed the book. The book was illustrated. In hindsight, Trixie realized that this should have been expected. A hack author like this would need the illustrations. Very carefully, she opened the book again to the first page.
It was another scorching hot day, and the trail to Dodge had been a long, dusty one. Honey Darling was glad to see the wooden buildings of the city appear over the next rise. Her carriage bearers were tired and thirsty, and so was she. She descended the rise, and soon they were on the seats of Dodge. Honey Darling left her carriage bearers with a good tip. Now they were getting a well-deserved rest. It was her turn. A few steps away from the doors of Dusty Goods, the saloon beckoned. An excellent name, she thought. Still, harmless, she decided, flipping through the book as long as one avoided the pictures. She stayed with him tonight. They made love 2 more times. Long, drawn-out, passionate affairs. He licked and kissed her, stimulated her gorgeous body until she was quivering with desire and plunging deep inside of her. Gala! It was a trap!
Trixie cried, hurling the book away. Realizing unbelievably, she was still in her office, and she was facing her front window. At the last possible second, she reached out and managed to technically grab the book, stopping it from plunging through her office's window. It required her to call upon the services of window pane yet again. Oh, come on, Trix. Without you, how's he getting his kids through college? She breathed out a sigh of relief until she realized the book's front cover was facing the window, and there was a jasmine-coated, blue-made Pegasus on the other side. One hoof raised as though she intended on tapping the window to get Trixie's attention. Do-do-do-do-do. Whoa! Trixie stared, frozen in place. She was dimly aware of raindrops leaving the front window, heading to her front door, letting herself in. Cautiously making her way to Trixie, who still hadn't moved other than to lose her telekinetic grip on the book and let it fall to the floor. Raindrops coughed.
So, she said, I knocked, but you didn't answer. Went to try the window and see if you were in here.
Trixie felt heat building in her cheeks. In a way, it was a welcome change from it building elsewhere in her body.
Raindrops shuffled. It's not her best, she said. Actually, on the whole, Rain Sprinkles isn't really the best author. Never really gets you invested in her characters and just focuses on the sex. I prefer stories with more romance.
I'm with Raindrops on this. Trixie slowly turned to face Raindrops at that.
What?
Raindrops blushed at herself.
I can have hobbies,
she answered indignantly.
Who said I can't?
Trixie stared and considered. It decided it would be best if she pushed forward rather than try to deal with the idea of Raindrops' element of honesty. Weathermere, the pony with a serious anger problem beneath her carefully controlled exterior. The pony could break solid stone with her barrel hose. Reading romance novels.
Why are you here?
Raindrops rubbed one leg with her opposite hoof.
I, heard you were in heat.
Something inside Trixie snapped.
From whom? She demanded. Who's going around advertising this? Well, you ran full speed through the center of town yesterday. A lot of ponies caught a whiff,
Raindrops said. Her own nostrils flared slightly at that.
And you know that a town like Ponyville runs on gossip as much as silver. I wasn't trying to find out. I just heard. Trixie quivered slightly. So, you're here to help? She demanded. Well, Luna's told me to go buck myself. Lyra and Bon Bon wanted me for the sexual Olympics. Charlie shows up with a little box of smut and a few implements that I know can't all be illegal. Trixie, I mean seriously, there's no way something with that many protrusions is meant to be anything other than a torture device! Trixie! Raindrops tried again, raising a hoof. I don't like sex! I don't want to clap! I just want this week to end! How is this so hard for all of you to accept? Raindrops stared, as Trixie breathed deeply at the outburst. Done? She asked. Raindrops was no stranger to pent-up anger, and recognized that Trixie just needed to vent a little. Trixie considered that for a moment before nodding. She was sweating again. Great. Raindrops looked at Trixie in the eye. I'm not here for any of those things, she said. I'm not going to try to get you to clap. I'm not going to try to get you laid. But I am here to help in a way you're comfortable with. Hopefully. Trixie stared at Raindrops, felt sweat swelling in her chest. How? She asked, daring to dream of a world where one of her friends actually had a vice she was willing to implement. Raindrops sat back on her haunches. Okay, so this is what I do, she said. House as small as mine. I can't exactly get alone time, right? Last thing I need is the snails to walk in, or have an awkward moment with my parents. But I'm not really comfortable with trying to clop anywhere else where some pony else might come along across me. Not even a whitetail would, so I figured a workaround. Exercise. Trixie blinked. Exercise? She asked. Raindrops nodded, looking Trixie up and down. Basically, from dawn till I drop, I just head out to whitetail, or else take extra shifts on the weather patrol. I run, stretch, fly, buck clouds, do push-ups, squats, anything to get me exhausted. At that point, I'm so tired it doesn't even matter what my body wants me to be doing, because the desire to go home and get to bed is just so strong. Then I sleep like a log. Well, see, I'm spending the time in sleep rather than trying to... She waved one hoof in the air, her suggestion plain. Trixie blinked a few times. That's really good, actually, she exclaimed, attempting to hug the Raindrops. The Pegasus' wings flared a little at that, though. Back to wait. No offense, he said, but, well, I've got work in half an hour, and I don't want Trixie and heat sent on me. Trixie was so elated at the suggestion, she wasn't bothered at all, instead sending a hoof and receiving a bump in return for Raindrops. I can help you, like, since you probably haven't done much exercising in the past. No offense, she repeated. I'll walk you through a few basics, spot you if needed. Say, first thing tomorrow morning? Trixie nodded fervently. Absolutely! There was a crash through Trixie's window. The two mares jumped away from it, turning quickly, and finding that it was a rainbow-maned, cyan-coated Pegasus lying on Trixie's floor, surrounded by broken glass and splintered wood. Boss? Raindrop asked. My window! Trixie mourned. Why? Why couldn't she go more than a month without her front window breaking? Window pane, the town's window installation and repair pony, actually gave her discounts now. Had her set up to buy new windows at bulk price. RainbowDoubleDash groaned a little, standing up slowly, on shaking hooves and quivering wings extended for balance, like a newborn foal still trying to work out how her limbs work. Sorry. A little out of it today. I'll pay for the damage. She said, flashing a light smile at Trixie and Raindrops. You guys are friends with Fire Heartstrings and Bon Bon, right? Trixie slowly nodded. Woo! RainbowDoubleDash said, turning around, climbing out the window. Friends with benefits, I hope. There. Yowza! 14 hours straight! Who rolls their eyes like that? Trixie swears. She spread her wings, considered them, and tucked them back against her sides. I think I'll just go for a walk today. I'll go get window pane. Raindrops and Trixie both blessed as RainbowDoubleDash tried out of sight. And on that note, Raindrops declared, I'll get going. She went to Trixie. Tomorrow, crack at dawn. Sound good? Trixie nodded. Thanks, she said. No problem. Raindrops responded as he laughed. To the front door, not the shattered window. Out of sense of tradition, if not necessity. Trixie got out a sigh of relief as she tried from her office. A moment later, she galloped back in and grabbed Riding Western Wind. The last thing she needed was for window pane to come across it while fixing her window.
Within a few moments, the evil tome was safely deposited in Trixie's trash can, which was promptly down in her backyard, doused the lantern oil, and set aflame. Window pane managed to arrive, fix Trixie's window, and leave in record time, sympathetic to the fact that Trixie just wanted to be left alone at the moment, and even showing up wearing nose plugs to prevent himself from taking in Trixie's pheromones, and therefore potentially distracting him from his crowd. Trixie may have been in love with window pane for that, just a little. Unicorn had settled down for dinner, one that was nearly once again half the size of her usual evening meal. The other problem with being in heat was that it resulted in a greatly increased appetite, when there was once again a lavender huge flash and a pop from about 5 feet away.
Oh, stars above!
Trixie cursed at the top of her lungs, when Twilight Sparkle again materialized near her. Twilight Sparkle sniffed the air, then waved a hoof in front of her nose again.
Still?
She demanded.
Yes,
Trixie answered, standing up and away from her table.
today's my only second day.
She considered trying to subdue Twilight so she could be arrested, but decided against it. The mare had some serious magic power behind her, Trixie knew. Besides, she was an expert at teleportation magic. Even if Trixie had somehow managed to gain the upper hoof, Twilight could always teleport away. This meant that there was only one thing Trixie could do: make small talk until Twilight decided to go away and leave her in peace. Twilight let out a long, suffering sigh.
I had this all planned out.
She moaned, levitating a carrot from Trixie's plate and taking a bite of it.
But no, you had to be in heat.
I am very sorry that my biological clock did not conform to your maniacal plan, or whatever it is.
Trixie deadpanned, glaring harder at Twilight due to the fact that she was tucking into Trixie's dinner without asking permission. Twilight glanced at Trixie again, then sighed even as she considered what had once been a tomato before Trixie had started adding spices and hot peppers and other foods to it. Without caution, she swallowed the whole thing in 3 quick bites, grimaced a little, began sweating slightly from the hots, but otherwise seemingly unharmed as she worked her way through the caramel-topped broccoli. Trixie stared. She had an unusual taste of food. She knew she had an unusual taste of food. Never known any pony outside her own family, however, to tuck into a dish of her own creation so unpleasantly. She quickly levitated some broccoli over her, lest Twilight grumbled at all.
You.
She ventured uncomfortably, knowing she had played a big role in Twilight's current predicament.
You haven't been starving, have you?
Twilight glanced at Trixie in confusion for a moment, then laughed.
Oh, no, of course not.
She said, closing her eyes. With a flash of pop, a large chest materialized from nowhere and opened itself up, revealing to be about half full of silver bits. Thousands of them.
No, money's never been a problem for me. The House Starlight is one of the wealthiest in Equestria.
She unsummoned the chest and turned back to Trixie's dinner.
I'm just really hungry right now, for some reason.
Trixie eyed Twilight's cloak.
So, what's with the potato sack?
Disguise.
Ah, I see. Hey!
Trixie grabbed a bread roll before Twilight could swallow it.
This is my dinner.
Twilight swallowed what was in her mouth, smacked her lips.
Right, she said. Sorry. Hey, is it hot in here? You should just open a window.
Twilight tried towards the nearest window. Walking past Trixie, just as Trixie inhaled through her nose. 3 things happened. 1. Her eyes widened. 2. She began to cough and desperately wave a hoof in front of her nose before her hormones could surge to action again. And, when the cough finally began to subside, she glared at Twilight and shouted,
That is just contrived!
Twilight blinked, stopping as she was about to open the window.
What?
She asked.
You're in heat too!
Twilight blinked a few times, turning her head slightly and sniffing.
Oh, huh,
she said, smiling sheepishly, as she rubbed the hoof back of her head.
What do you know? I knew it was coming in the next few days. I actually wanted to get this whole plan moving and done with before it set in. I guess catching your scent probably drove my body to kick things off early.
She laughed sheepishly. She was laughing. She was laughing! Like it was no big deal. Trixie lunged at Twilight. No magic, no telekinesis, no magic words, just her bare hose. And she could help it, her horn. Twilight gasped in surprise. Throwing her own hose and catching Trixie, the two fell to the floor in a tangle. The tangle not held by Trixie's cape or Twilight's cloak / burlap sack at all. Trixie managed to get behind Twilight, grabbing at Twilight's cloak with her teeth and pulling, trying to suffocate her. Popcorn, guys! Twilight pushed herself forward, though, landing on all four and then bucking like a bronco, causing Trixie to fly off. Trixie's horn glowed. Then, grasping Trixie in her telekinesis, throwing it to the floor. Trixie's own telekinesis managed to take off Twilight's magic, though. She charged again. Horn down. Twilight avoided it, grabbing Trixie about the neck, and once again bringing forth both of them to the floor. Trixie writhed under Twilight's grip, turning in place, wrapping her hose around Twilight's head, and pulling her down towards her waiting horn. Twilight struggled and wrestled against the pull, responding by driving her rear hose against Trixie's sides. Trixie managed to pull Twilight down further. Twilight managed to move right slightly, however, as Trixie's horn now brushed against her cheek. Trixie gasped as Twilight's own tight grip intense, and as her hips began to gyrate. Trixie's hind legs began to lock around Twilight's hips as Twilight's tongue sneaked out and laid down the length of Trixie's horn. Ding! Girls, the rating on this stuff went up a notch. Straight to the sensitive nerve cluster located his face. Ding! Oh, there he goes! Now him! Trixie moaned at the feeling, nuzzling Twilight's neck, nibbling at her ear, until the two looked at each other and, their breathing quick and desperate, at the feelings of their hindquarters grinding together, moving as one, their eyes locked, their lips pressed together. Trixie snapped back to the here and now. Oh! Shaking her head and gasping for air. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw that Twilight was blushing, staring at her own front hose, also similarly out of breath. The air was thick with pheromones, and neither of them appeared to have moved from the spots they had been standing in. Twilight glanced at Trixie.
She ventured, do you ever get the feeling that two ponies are thinking the exact same thing?
Trixie glared at her.
No.
Now get out!
Twilight sighed. Fine!
She stared, horn glowing and disappearing with a pop! There was a diagonal simultaneous pop right behind Trixie. The blue unicorn sighed.
You took my dinner, didn't you?
She gasped and so the empty room. Great! She found herself staring at her intact dinner. Well, intact for the types that Twilight had already eaten. Well, a new addition. A basket laden with colorful, wonderfully scented, and above all else, delicious-looking wildflowers.